just a quick disclaimer that, any of the trades I'm placing today, this is not investment advice, anything along those lines. And now let's go ahead and get started. So if you were with me earlier, I was talking about how this is the desktop platform. It's a downloadable piece of software. You can get on Mac, PC, Linux as well. And the desktop platform here is kind of split up into three main sections. And I'll get some drawing tools going here so it's a little bit easier to see. We have the left side watch list panel. This is always going to be there. It's actually very useful to have on the left side here, and I'll help go over why that's the case. But so we have our left side watch list panel. At the top, we have our accounts header and the active symbol header as well. This kind of builds into the middle of the platform too. But underneath, this is kind of our bread and butter. This is our station. Right now, we just got a chart open, but this is where a lot of the action is going to be happening, where your order tickets are in, where you check out charts, the trade table, your positions, all that jazz. Lastly, on the right side, if you look over here, there's a little, so it might already be open for you, or if your resolution is big enough on your platform, you're on a second monitor that's very big, it might already be inlaid in there. But if you click on this arrow over here, this is actually going to pull out the right side panel. And this right side panel is a bit of a just like abbreviated version of this middle pane. What's really nice about it, and just kind of as we're going through this demo, either you can collapse it so you got more space in the middle, or you can also click on this arrow here and detach it and pull it into either a separate part of your window or into a second monitor as well. So to detach it, it's this arrow over here in the top right. To just collapse it on the platform entirely, it's this arrow here. For right now, we'll just leave it open, but later we can go ahead and collapse it. Especially say you wanted to just look at your chart here. That's an instance where you might want to collapse this window on the right. But just for right now, for example purposes, we're going to keep it back open. Just click on that arrow there. So that's the general layout. You got three sections. This right side is collapsible, but this left side, the watch list here, it's always going to be there. So let's talk about the watch lists. We got plenty of them on the platform, but this one is the best location in my opinion. So on the left side here at the top, you're going to see a list of recent symbols. So these are a bunch of symbols that I was looking up earlier. Either I clicked on the symbol in a watch list, or I searched it up top. You see in this little search bar up here with the magnifying glass, you can type in a symbol. So in this case, we have Apple as our active symbol. But if we wanted to type in, say, maybe Costco, C-O-S-T is a symbol for Costco. Type it in up there. You're also going to see a list of companies with cost in their name as well. So if you're looking up the name of a company, you could do that as well. But in this case, we just have cost. We can press return or enter depending on the device you're using. And boom, Costco is now our active symbol at the top of the platform. So now we see information on Costco. If you saw there, the platform actually updated too. This is the chart for Costco as well. And then also on this right side, we're looking at a chart on Costco too. So active symbol is very important. Either, you're going to do that by typing in a symbol at the top of the platform, or as you're clicking on symbols, as you're going through the platform, that will make that symbol the active symbol too. I'll show you in a second. So we have our recent symbols here. We saw that we had Apple up first, and we just clicked on Costco. So maybe, if you're a trader who likes to stick to a handful of symbols, this is really nice to have open where, you're clicking between a set of symbols, trading a handful of symbols, and you can just quickly flicker through them by clicking on, say, we want to go back to Apple. You left click on Apple there, and now it's our active symbol at the top of the platform. Same goes if we want to click on TSM. TSM is now on our platform. We're seeing the chart for TSM. And now it's at the top of our recent symbols. If you don't want to see recent symbols at all, there is a nice little arrow. Let me clear my drawings really quick. There's a nice little arrow right here where you can draw that one more time. Right here, this little up arrow where you can collapse that. Now, underneath the recent symbols is going to be our preset watch list, and also any customized watch lists you have. So we see a little drop down window here at the top. if we go ahead and click on this area here, we're going to get a large list, a collapsible drop down here. It's going to go through all of these preset watch lists. So these are just long lists of symbols particular to a certain genre. Either we're looking at all earnings. If you click on all earnings here, we're going to get a list of symbols that have earnings coming up. So you can kind of scroll through, find some opportunities. Maybe if you're looking to place an earnings trade. Also, you can go through here and look at, hey, maybe I want to look at options with particularly high options volume. I want to look at some liquid underlying. So you can go to liquidity and tap on high options value. And now your watch list is showing you, options with high volume, good liquidity, hopefully tighter bid-ask spreads. Maybe you're getting a little bit better pricing there. So that's great about the little preset watch list too. If you're a big Tom Sosnoff fan, big diehard, you can check out Tom's watch list too under Tasty. Tom's watch list, check out symbols that Tom's looking at as well. So in our watch list, so you're saying, okay, well, we got a bunch of symbols now. Why do we have bid ask here? So bid and ask is super important to keep here, as it's going to help us quickly set up stock orders or outright futures orders as well, just with the click of a button. If we wanted to get more information rather than just looking at the bid and the ask for the underlying, there's a little gray bar. It kind of shows up in between the areas here where you see these arrows pointing to. If you hover your mouse over it, you'll see this gray bar. If you left click and drag, that will expand the columns and you will get some more information there. So right now we have bid ask and then change percent. That's saying that, maybe let's look at just our open positions. So that's another preset watch list too, is just, hey, what kind of symbols do I have open positions on? That's under the positions watch list. So we got open positions in micro Bitcoin, Apple, AMD, all that jazz. You can check it out there. And then as we're looking at those symbols, we go, okay, what's happening with the underlyings that I have positions on? Well, you can add the change percent column here and see, okay, well, Meta went up 13.9% from today. So you can kind of see, okay, where does the market move in depending on the symbols I'm looking at. You can add in a lot of extra columns here too. So if you check out this arrow right here, this is actually to scroll through different pages of columns. So you kind of have all these dots here. These are indicating different pages. Right now we're on page 1, which is indicated by the gray highlight. So as you're clicking on this arrow, you're going to get more pages of information on your watch list. So right now we just have the change amount. So, Meta's gone up $29.16 today. We also have a liquidity rating. So this is just a kind of a proprietary measure of how liquid the options are. And then also IV rank 2 for the symbol. We can go through and click through other pages of a lot more information that might be applicable to your trading. You can go in and actually change these columns entirely. So if you wanted to see something other than change percent or bid and ask as well, you can click on the gear icon in the top here. And this is a nice little important one to keep track of, is the settings icon. If you click on this gear icon in the top left, it's going to take you to our platform settings. Just to show you one more time where I click to go there. This is important for finding your settings later. There's a settings gear icon right here. That's going to take you to the platform settings. There's also one in the top right too, if you wanted to click that. There's quite a few gear icons. They'll all take you to either the main settings or a different version of the settings. In this case, I'm just clicking on this settings gear icon here. It's immediately going to take us to the watch list area because that's where the gear icon was on our left side watch list. Nicely too, it's going to take us to the left sidebar, which is the watch list we were looking at. And now we can see all these different data points or columns that we had set up and being able to adjust them as we would like. So we have net change percent and net change. Maybe if you didn't want to see that, you can click on it either or click and drag and drop to not displayed. So there's a displayed section right here. And then also a not displayed section right here. So either if it's in the displayed, you're going to see it on your pages. If it's not displayed, then it's just out in the background. There's a lot of good information. Say, you wanted to add in the description, that'll just give you the the name for the underlying. You can drag and drop. You see it's green. That means it's adding. And also you'll see that you kind of want to add it in based on order. So we have bid and ask at the top. Those are the first two that we're seeing. And then we have description. So if we click OK here, after setting up our columns, click OK. Now we can see, might need to drag it out a little bit. There we go. Is that we've changed our columns here to show you the name for each of the underlines. So you can kind of play around, get the most applicable information. I usually just like doing that change % column. Gives me an idea of how much these underlines have been moving for the day as you're going through your different watch lists. Having the bid and ask is also very important, and that's going to play into placing a stock order here in just a second. So like I was doing on the recent symbols too, as you are pulling up symbols to trade, maybe, or if you just want to check out a chart on that symbol, you can click on symbols in your preset watch list too. We're looking at a chart on Apple right now because we click on Apple, or if we wanted to go to XOP, click on XOP. Now we're looking at a chart on XOP. So fantastic. Now you got your watch list, you're able to scan the markets. Next, I know a lot of importance is on charting. So let's talk about the charting package first, because maybe it's probably the first thing you might open when you're looking at an underlying is, hey, where's the price movement been? What's the chart look like? So to pull up the chart, there's an icon right here. You're going to see a chart icon right there. That's our main large center chart. There's also a second charting window too, and I like to show this off because, especially for those of you with multiple monitors or quite a large resolution, this is a great feature. If you look at this 4-box symbol right here where my arrows are pointing, this is the Tasty Charts tab. If you click on that symbol right there or hover your mouse over too, you'll see the name. You can click on Tasty Charts, and now we get a 2x2. My resolution is a little small on this computer right now, so I'm not seeing all the charts I could get. If you have a bigger resolution or you play around with your zoom settings too on the platform within those settings that I was showing you earlier, you can get higher resolution and you can go up to a 4x4. So now you don't have to keep these two in the platform too, kind of like our right side panel. See this arrow right here? This is where you can detach the charts from the platform, pull it into a different window. And that's where it's, again, you might have a second monitor that has more resolution, and that way you'll get 4 charts on there. So you can look at multiple charts. And also that's a scenario where, hey, you want to have the trade tab open and look at options. You could have this chart tab, the Tasty Charts, detached by clicking on this arrow and then pull it into another monitor. Now you're looking at charts and the trade tab at the same time. Instead of having to click through a bunch of different windows, you got all the information visible for you at the same time. So let's go back to our main chart. It's just right above. Hover our mouse over here and click on chart. And also I'm going to click on our watch list panel here and shrink that as well. Make it a little smaller so we get more chart here. So fantastic. So right now we're looking at XOP. We wanted to pull up a different symbol. Maybe let's go TSM. We can pull up TSM here, and right now we're looking at a daily chart over a year. So if you wanted to change the aggregation or time period, you can do so by clicking on these drop downs right here at the top of your chart. So this is going to be your aggregation. That means that each tick represents this data value. So in this case, a capital D stands for 1 day. So each tick here, each candle represents 1 day's worth of data. And then we have 1 Y here. That's the time period over 1 year. So we see 1 tick data over 1 year. You can play around and really go all the way up down to 1 minute as well, or possibly up to months, weeks, and then also hours. It's just marked by, the small m is in minutes, lowercase h is in hours, and then we got capital D, day, week, month. So we'll keep it at a day, and maybe, we can look over a 6-month period. So 6 capital M right there. So now each tick is a day, and we're looking at data for 6 months. So nice. So now that we have our time and aggregation down, we can go ahead and look to add maybe some indicators. Maybe we want to look at a moving average or look at IV rank on the chart too over time. You can do so by clicking on the indicators tab right here. This is just going to create a little pop-up window in front of your chart. If we click on that, it's going to pull up our indicators. And this is kind of similar to our settings earlier, where you're going to find some indicators on your left side here. Click on it, and then you're going to click add selected. So maybe if we wanted a simple moving average, just an SMA line, we could type in SMA. We got a couple different options to choose from. In this instance, just want a classic SMA line. You click on it, it's highlighted, and then click add selected. And now we can see that SMA is on our current oops. Looks like Zoom closed out my toolbar there. But yeah, Zoom's going to be a little weird here. But in short, if you look right here where my cursor is, you're going to see, okay, we added SMA on our chart. And then at the bottom too, we have SMA selected. We can change the parameters here too. We can change the length. We can change the color in there as well. You can set defaults to that too. But you know, as you're going through different symbols in your watch list, your indicators are going to permeate. So maybe let's add in one more, maybe MACD, another very common indicator people use. You can click add selected at the bottom. And now we have our MACD lines at, or at least underneath our chart right now in its own separate area. We click on the X, or even like the X on the right here, you could get rid of one. So if we wanted to get rid of SMA, we can click on the X and that just gets rid of all of them. Or we can click on clear all and that gets rid of all of them. That's what I meant. So click on the X, let's get rid of the indicators. Within here, you can go ahead and actually play around with how you're viewing these indicators by dragging and dropping. So if I left click on the kind of the title of the indicator here, either on MACD or SMA, in this case, let's do the MACD line. If I click, drag, and then drop at the top here, now it's all overlaid onto one window. So you can play around with it. We can move the SMA line into its own area at the bottom. You can do this with all the different indicators. So nice little feature. If you want to tailor your charting experience, maybe you want all three lines separate, you can do that too. In this case, let's just take it back to what we had before. So that's just left clicking, dragging the names here, or the top lefts of the chart tabs. And then as we go through symbols on our watch list, maybe let's give a peek at Meta today. Been going a little crazy. You can see that we have those same indicators permeating as well. So we're still seeing SMA, and then we're also seeing the chart at the bottom. Nice. How do you change SMA parameters to 2050? If you wanted to do that, again, in the indicator section, if you click on SMA here, I would do the drawing tools, but Zoom closes out this window if I try and draw. But if you click on SMA here at the bottom, you have your parameters for the line. You can set the length and displacement as well. Or you can double click, or well, that's for drawings. But yeah, in this indicators section at the top where you add the indicators, that's where you'll edit the parameters. So let's keep it moving because I want to get a stock order in the extended hour. We also have the chart type. So I just have classic candle here, but you can go and get tick charts too. A lot of different, if you scroll your mouse over, you can see all the different names here. You can kind of get a line if you really want to. I personally just like to stick with the classic candles here. There's some chart settings in here. We'll just skip that for right now. They're a little more advanced. You know, if you wanted to change to a white background, you can do that in this setting here too. We can maybe talk about that later, but just to keep things along, we also have this drop down right here. In here, you can change how your box and cursor are displaying. So maybe if you want it to follow along with your cursor, you can click on this fourth one down. Or if you want it to tie to the left and the data is matching up with where your cursor is, that's just this middle one here. Or you can kind of, let's see, you can get rid of that box too, get rid of it there. There's quite a few selections to go from. I personally just usually keep it on here, tie it to the left side so it's not getting in the way of my chart as I'm scrolling through. So lastly, to round it out, we have the drawing tools as well. So we got a lot of different drawing tools to add to your chart. The most basic one I like to show off is just a gain loss line. Maybe you want to look at a chart and see what the change in price was really, you don't want to have to do the manual math. You can click on gain loss line here, left click to select a point, and then left click, maybe you want to look until March 16th and click there. And now we see, okay, it increased 6.93% there. We can click off of our drawing tool there. And if we wanted to edit this or delete this, you can double click on your drawing and, you can change the styling, coordinates. You can set it as your default as well. So if you didn't want blue, change it to red, and then you set it as your default, then all your lines would be red going forward if you did this drawing tool. So a lot of great drawing tools to add. You can edit the parameters, especially, if you're getting into the more advanced stuff like Fibonacci retracements and some of the more technical indicators that require particular parameters. What you got to do is just, double click on that drawing to pull up the parameter settings. And then, you can set the default as well. There's a little drop down at the bottom. So that's a brief overview of our chart. Maybe we're looking at, let's get an example here. Ford's always interesting. Maybe we're looking at Ford and we're going, okay, based on, maybe this last 3-month period, we're seeing it reach somewhat near lows. Maybe I have the assumption that, Ford's going to go up. This is a good opportunity to buy based on whatever charting discovery. Maybe I was looking at my watch list data on the left. I'm going to go ahead and place a stock order. So how do you do that? It doesn't seem too intuitive off the bat. There isn't just like a buy and sell order icon on the platform, but there actually is. And it's a bit hidden. Well, it's not hidden, but you kind of got to understand what bid and ask means. So when we're talking about a bid, that means that you're going to be selling. When we're talking about ask, you're buying. So when we're looking at, maybe let's just look at, let's check out Amazon. Maybe if we're looking at Amazon, we see here we have our bid and ask column. It's also here at the top for Ford too. But just for the purpose of showing you why we might have bid and ask on the watch list, I'll keep Amazon here for an example. But if we click on the ask price on Amazon, this is actually going to queue up. So I'm going to click on this price right here, this $117.90. This is actually a button. If you click on it there, that's going to go ahead and open up a stock order for you. Now, it might default to 100 if you just opened up to the platform for the first time. That's a round lot of stock, but you can change your defaults in the settings. I can show a little bit later to 1 or whatever quantity you want. In this case, I just set it as 1 share. So that's how easy it is to set up a stock order, or at least to get in your order ticket and start playing around with the prices. Just click on the bid or ask. So if you clicked on the bid, let's just clear our order here. If we wanted to get this order off our screen, and click this eraser icon, get the stock order off there. And if we wanted to say short this stock, you can click on the bid price. So SQ here, 60.757, and click on that price. And that sets up a short order. You see in the bottom left, we're shorting. It's -1 contract. And then we have bracket orders here too. I see Gregory, you're asking. So I'll go over a little more in depth in bracket orders in a second, but bracket orders allow you to set take profit and stop loss points at the same time. So you're able to have 2 resting orders, kind of protection on the bottom side, and then also a take profit point on the top side on the same underlying at the same time. So you kind of watch them both sides with 1 order. So if you wanted to set that up, for example, maybe you want to do that, you can click on bracket here, and that pulls up our bracket order. We have a great tutorial. I see Anthony just tossed in the chat there on bracket orders, but this is the interface where you could enter that kind of order. So really useful. I know a lot of people like to send bracket orders to protect, or well, at least protect one side and cap off the other. So we have one, let's pull up Ford again. So I'm going to just type F at the top. We could also just click on, I don't even need to do that. See, I can just go to recent symbols in the top left, click on F, or well, we clicked on Amazon there, fat fingered, but now we have Ford at the top. So while you are at the top, you can click on the ask here too, like we were doing. So just clicked on that number there, 11.59. That is the ask price right now, or 11.60. It's changing. But as you click on that, that opens up a stock order at the bottom of our window. You can ignore the trade table here. This is for options. So maybe if you're doing a buy right or like, you know, some kind of covered call, buying shares with options, this is a nice window to have. But for the most part, when you're setting up a stock order, you're just going to be focusing on this bottom portion here, where you're looking at, okay, I'm buying 1 share of Ford. I've got my, let's see, I got my price right here. This is the price of my order. We got the market that it's trading at too. So we can see it's trading between 11.58, 11.59. We're in after hours right now, so it's just going to update based on the top. But if we wanted to go ahead and send this order, let's go ahead and just do one as example. We got 3 minutes left in the extended hours. So that's an hour after the market close, hour before. So 3 to 4 p.m. Central Time. That is the extended hours where you can place stock and ETF orders still. But there's a special way to do it. You need to go in the bottom right here under order type. And you go ahead and change that to, well, we'll actually keep that on limit. So it's good that we already had it as a limit. But then when you go to TIF here, click on that drop down. And right now my platform's actually getting cut off because of Zoom. But if you have this open, you should see a symbol. My mouse is not showing it right now, but it says EXT. So I just clicked on it there. See EXT there. Just got cut off by the platform. But this will send in an extended hours order. So let's go ahead and send it. So we set our price. I'm thinking maybe let's do 11.60 because that's a little closer, or that's the ask price right now. We're more likely to get a fill at that point right now. So we can go ahead and, you know, maybe if we wanted, let's do 100 shares. Why not? We had 1 share. If we click on quantity here in the bottom left, sorry if I'm talking a little fast, just want to get this order out. We got 1 minute left. If you click on quantity here, either arrows or you type it in, you can change your quantity. But click on review and send to review your order. You get a little breakdown of the commission fee breakdown on the trade, $0 commissions open stock. See BTO, buy to open 100 shares. Buying power reduction. I'm just going to send it because the market's about to be closed. Send the order. And in the top left of our platform, we see that we had our working order and it got filled right away. So our position got opened right away based on the price. You know, we set it a little higher based on the market. So it got filled right away. If we wanted to check out that position, all you got to do is go to positions here. So this little positions tab icon or button, and we're taken to the positions tab. So within the positions tab, you are going to see all your account positions. Right now, I actually have 2 accounts open, which is dictated in the top here. I'll go over the top in just a second, but see there is a orange triangle and a blue purple there. Those are 2 different accounts. And those are marked on your positions tabs as those symbols as well. So in our pink triangle account, we have all these different positions. In our purple account, we just bought those 100 shares of Ford. So if we wanted to see that position, we can left click on the row and it will expand. And now we can see, okay, yeah, we got 100 shares of Ford. And just to give you a breakdown, Ford has changed since the previous close. 8 cents. It's increased 8 cents. It's trading at a price of 11.62. And then we have a bunch of columns here on our positions tab, kind of just like our watch list tab. Got a bunch of different columns with great information. Generally, this is how I like to set it up, where I got change percent, which is showing me, okay, you know, what kind of percentage change are we looking at on this underlying? We got the P&L open column. What's my profit or loss on my positions if I were to close it at the current mid price? P&L open percent change. This is the profit or loss percent change. So, you know, if we're looking at some of these examples, we're going, oh, okay, you know, FRC, we're at about, you know, 91.4% max loss on that trade. So not too hot, but you can keep track of where your positions are at with P&L open percent. And then also our Greeks. So we got delta and theta. You can check out and go, okay, we got some positive deltas in crude, slightly bullish. We just bought 100 shares in Ford, so each share is 1 delta. So we got 100 deltas in Ford. We're definitely bullish on Ford right now. And then we got theta too. And then DTE is days until expiration. So a lot of great applicable information here. Just like our watch list tab, we got all of our columns over here, different pages of columns. So if you click on the arrow like we were doing earlier. You can scroll through a bunch of different pages of information. And not to sound like a broken robot, but if you go to the gear icon in the top right here, up here in the top right, click on that. It's going to take us to our positions column settings. So we saw quote net change percent, P&L open change, our Greeks, delta and theta. Those were all on our first page. As we scroll down, these are the different columns on our other pages. You can add and remove them as you see fit. Just drag and drop them left or right. If we want to get rid of, say, trade price, you can left click drag and add to the not displayed section. And now it's off of our positions tab. So customize it completely to how you like it, what information is most applicable to you. Personally, these are some of the columns I like to start with off the bat. So we'll click on OK once we're done. The bottom left. So just, well, now that we placed that, we actually got probably about $2 on that. So woo, let's go forward, keep rallying. Let's talk about the top of the platform really quick. So we placed a quick stock order. We checked it out in our positions tab. Let's check out the top because we did not discuss that yet. So at the top of our platform, we had our active symbol that I talked about earlier. We also have a lot of information, kind of like our middle panel, where you can see the IV rank on the position, the last price, the change for the day, and then the bid and ask for the symbol, volume, number of contracts traded today. So a lot of contracts on forward, and then the name as well. So that's all great information. As you're clicking on different active symbols, say lift, you're seeing that all this information is updating to that active symbol. Underneath is our accounts that we were using earlier. An important thing to note as you are trading in multiple accounts, maybe you have an IRA and an individual, or you have a cash and a margin account. You know, a lot of people have multiple accounts. You can click or like kind of essentially select which account you want to trade in by default with this little T shield here. So if you actually click or double click on the T shield, depending on the account you click, so in this case, I double click the pink account. When I go to set up an order or I click that bid and ask, it's defaulting to route it in the pink account. So the T shield here at the top is very important to understand. You know, make sure that you're selecting the right account you want to place a trade in. I'll show you in a little bit, but you can change the account you place a trade into in the order ticket itself. But this is a good place to start. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm not trading in my IRA. Let's just default to, you know, my classic account that I am doing over here. So got our purple. Next to our T shield is actually a button. This is a balances tab button. Draw a little arrow for you. It says BAL. This is a good button to know as well. If you click on it, you're going to get a drop down here, and let me get rid of my drawing so it's not getting in the way. But if you click on that, you're going to get a drop down giving you some information on the account. You might see some more details here, but in this case, you can see, okay, how much cash do I have in the account? Am I borrowing funds? You know, what's my maintenance excess? How close am I to potentially getting a margin call? We got a nice buffer here and some more applicable figures to your account. Say you got crypto approved as well, it'll tell you your crypto buying power, stuff like that. Right now, I actually have privacy mode set up for this account. So earlier you didn't see the account name or number, you just saw the last 2 digits. So especially, you know, if you're presenting on this or you got coworkers eyeing you over in the background, you don't want them seeing your net liquidating value or account information, you can turn on privacy mode. So I'll show you guys really quick how to turn that on, because I like to have it, especially if I'm in office. So click on the gear icon here. And then if you go to, I believe it's under accounts, yes. It's under the accounts modules. So this one here, and then under accounts. This is also where you can select if you want to like remove an account from being, or at least showing up on the platform. So if I wanted to say, oh, I don't want to look at the pink account positions anymore at all, I could unselect it there too. If you got a bunch of accounts, it won't close it, you just won't see it on the platform. And then the setting that I was just talking about, privacy mode, right here. So if you want to turn it on, it's under the accounts modules, under the accounts header here, and it is privacy mode. So good one to have if you are in office. If we go ahead and let's just talk about the other figures here really quick. Some other figures, we got net liq. So net liq is your net liquidating value. It's your account value if you were to close all of your positions at the current mid price. So in theory, if you were to instantaneously close all your positions at the current mid prices on those positions, this is what your account value would be. So, I mean, there isn't going to be a scenario where, especially with how many positions are in this account, that it would probably lighten up, but it's, it's theoretical because it's based on the mid price. P&L day here, that's the profit or loss increase or decrease for the day. P&L year to date is the profit or loss increase in the account from the start of the year. So from January 1st, or whatever that first trading day was, if it lands on a weekend. We also have our options buying power and stock buying power. For the most part, you can just keep track of options buying power. Stock buying power does give you some insight in terms of how much buying power you have for marginable stock. But in reality, stock buying power is just 2 times whatever your options buying power is. All it's saying is that in a margin account, you can get 50% leveraged or hold on 50% margin. Well, now actually you hold it on 25, but you got to open for 50. So for the most part, again, keep track of your options buying power. That's kind of your main guy there. Next, you have your account Greeks. So we can actually see delta, theta, and vega across our entire account. So, and then also it totals it for multiple accounts. So we see this totals row here, this bottom row, we can see all of our net figures here across multiple accounts. So maybe if you're looking at, your theta across your entire portfolio, you're saying, oh yeah, how much premium am I getting in each day? Or maybe you're looking at deltas and you're going, okay, how much exposure do I have, or beta weighted deltas, how much exposure do I have to SPY my, net bullish across all my accounts, my net bearish, same with Vega, all very important stuff that people like to keep track of. Then we also have some other columns here like P&L open, which is just the profit or loss. If you were to close, or just based on the mid price of these contracts. So not if you were to close, just based on the current mid price. So right now we're not doing too hot in the pink account, but what can you do? And then we have BP usage here. So we get to see, okay, how much buying power is held up in each account. We're using about 7.2 thousand in buying power to hold our open positions in the pink account. So we can go ahead and let's talk about some of our other tabs here. Let's quickly talk about the activity tab. I just kind of want to give you guys a full picture here of how you can get through, you go through your chart, you got your watch list, you got your trade inspiration. Now you've placed your trade, you've opened it. How can you check out that order status, or, if that order's gone through, maybe you didn't see the pop-up in the top left, you can go to the activity tab, which is right here. And then if we make sure that all of these filters are selected, we're going to see all of our different orders entered. And we can also filter based on a date too. So maybe we want to look at orders over the past 120 days. We could do it over just the past 7 days too, if we wanted to. And now inside of our activity tab, we can see the forward trade that we just placed. And we get some info. Let's not cross out the columns there, but we get some information on the trade. So in the far right, let's go right to left. We're going a little backwards, but BTO stands for buy to open. 100 shares. This is our order number, just a reference number for the order. We got filled, which means the position is open. The time was 3:59:27. We had 33 seconds to spare on the extended hour. It's an extended hour order type, or the time in force. We had entered a price of 11.60 and we got filled at a price of 11.60 as well. So get a breakdown on your order. And now you're thinking, okay, well, that's the opening order. Let's talk about a closing order. So maybe we are happy with our profit on that forward trade. We looked, we're like, okay, yeah, we opened up our position, looks good. Let's go back to our positions tab. And we check out our position on forward, which is down here. And maybe, it's a little cluttered right now with all these other positions. You can play around with the filters at the top of the platform here. So stock, options, futures, bonds. If you deselect these, so if I click off on options, we're going to see now only non-options trades. We're going to see futures, bonds too, but maybe we'll click off of futures, and then also any working orders. what do we got? Okay, we do have 100 shares left there. But so now we can just look at our positions just with stocks, or if we have any bonds too. But maybe let's just look at stocks here. So if we wanted to close the position, super simple. All you got to do is go in here and click, just left click on the row, or you can, double click on the header as well. In this case, just left click on the row, and then that will gray highlight it, and then right click to open up this function here. So we could just close the position outright. Earlier, we were talking about a bracket order. So maybe we want to place a take profit and stop loss order on our open position. In this case, let's just place a classic order to close. Let me just go back here and show you again. We left clicked, highlighted, right click to get this quick action menu, and then left click to close position. And now at the bottom of our screen, we have a closing stock order. See that we're selling 100 shares. We got our price here. If we were to close this at 11.58, we bought it at 11.60. If we were to enter this order at 11.58, we would be locking in a max loss of -2. So we would take a loss on the trade. It looks like Ford traded down a little bit. Tough buckets. And then also you get a breakdown on, okay, how much buying power am I getting back into my account once I've closed out this position? We wanted to send our closing order. And in this case, we'll just do it as a regular order to work in the next market open. We can click on review and send. Let me get rid of my drawings here for you guys. Just confirm our order ticket here. People can fall into, especially because the send order button is here, be careful just smashing your mouse button. Because the next thing you know, you send an order that you don't want to because you've just clicked on review and then send order just in the spamming your clicks. So definitely be careful. Don't, quadruple click review and send, because then you might accidentally click send order. Double check your order ticket. Make sure it's doing. We're selling our 100 shares of Ford. We got the price of 11.58 that we were good with, and then also a breakdown on our commission and fees. Just make sure everything's good. We can also, I mentioned earlier, selecting an account right up here in this arrow here. We can change our account. Right now we're in that purple account ending in 01, but we could change the account if we wanted to by clicking on that drop down there. So make sure it's in the right account, make sure the details are correct, and then click send order. If you wanted to go back and edit your order, you can click on edit order here, and it's just going to take us back to the window we were just in. You can edit the price, order quantity, stuff like that. Or you can just get this order completely off your screen and click clear order. In this case, let's send the order. We're going to see in the top left our working order to close. Either if we are in something just to show off too, which is nice on this right side panel, Ford is our active symbol, so it's populating on our right side. We can see on our little subgraph here, we can see where we bought it, where our working order is as well on that small chart. If we went to a big chart, you'd see the same exact thing. We can see a breakdown of, hey, we got 100 shares on Ford. We see our working order here on the right side too. So this is where you can manipulate your working order, cancel it, change the price. There's a couple other places you can do it too, but that's kind of one of the perks of having this right side panel, is you can keep track of your working orders on the active symbol and quickly cancel or correct it without having to click around too much. But if we did want to click around, we can go to the positions tab or activity tab to change that working order. I'll show you both really quickly. If we go to positions, and then we need to make sure that the working order filter is selected. So we turn that off, just make sure this is clicked. And now we will see our working order on Ford. In this case, we don't actually need to left click to select it. We can just go ahead and immediately right click on the, oops, clear this drawing real quick. Just right click on this working order and you get that quick action menu again. And we get a few options where we can cancel the order, replace it. We can place a similar order. In this case, it wouldn't really make sense. But we could go ahead and replace the order. Maybe we want to say, I want to sell this for break even. I just want to sell it at 11.60. Hopefully it trades up to my limit price tomorrow morning and I close out my position for scratch. You can change that price either with the arrows or by typing it in at the bottom where my mouse is here. And then if we click on review, we can see that our new order price has been updated over here. Everything else is looking beautiful. We click on send order, and now we're going to see our past order canceled, you're out, and then the new working order at a limit price of $11.60. So that's how you can edit different orders either in your positions tab, and then also I just clicked on the activity tab here on the left. You're going to see your pending order here. Again, same exact functionality. You right click to get the quick action menu, and then you can take certain actions on that resting order. If we look at our right side panel, clicked on that expand button in the top right, same exact thing. Right click on it and you can cancel the order. So a bunch of different places you can find your orders, adjust them. The idea here is that, you know, maybe you are in your trade tab and you're placing a bunch of orders and maybe you want to cancel them quickly. You can have that right side panel open here and even go to the activity tab on the right side panel too. This little tab here, kind of like I was saying, it was an abbreviated version of the middle. We have an activity tab in the middle on the right side panel here too. So click on that. Now we see all of our working orders from before. So a lot of different areas, kind of tailored to what you want. Personally, I like to detach this another window, keep track of it. Usually just keep it on the overview and then drag this up a little bit and I can scroll down and check out my past orders. See the chart too. It's nice. For now, just going to collapse it and go back to our trade window here. So if we wanted to cancel the order, let's just go into activity, right click on the order row, and then left click cancel. And now we've canceled the order. So beautiful. We can close it tomorrow. Now that we've placed a stock order, let's talk about, you know, in the instance that the market was open, we had closed our forward position right there. How could we reconcile profit or losses other than just doing the manual math in our heads? What you can do here, and this applies to options trades as well, you can click on the history tab at the bottom of the platform. This is a very useful area that some people don't find right away. So definitely check out the history tab here. Scroll your mouse over, you'll see history. Go ahead and click on that. And now you're brought to, it's kind of similar to the activity tab, but it's giving you a breakdown in dollar terms. So we can see here, just we're filtering trades for today. So we just made one trade today in our purple account over here, but we can see, you know, the time, the symbol, the trade type, the description. So we bought 100 shares at 11.60, commissions paid 0, some small pass-through fees, and then also the amount purchased. So we bought 100 shares at 11.60, we paid $1,160 to open that trade. Now, if we look at some old trades, maybe some past forward orders we have here. Yeah, let's do 30 days maybe. Okay, beautiful. So we can check out something I had done the past couple weeks on forward. If we look at our trade, we can see that we have our opening order to buy at 12.46. And we also have a closing order above that. So if you wanted to check out the profit or loss on these, I mean, for stock, it's a little simple to do the mental math, but you can just click on both of these, left click on both of these rows, highlights them. And then in the top right, that's going to total the amount. So we sold it, we opened it for 12.46, we sold it for 12.45. It's a net $1 loss on that trade. And then we can also see the net or total commissions and fees for the legs that we have selected. If you want to just see the breakdown for everything, you just deselect everything. We see that, okay, yeah, we still are, you know, net debit there on the open. So history tab, really great for reconciling positions that you've already closed. And then also there's this year to date tab, which is really, really nice. Click on that up there. And you're going to get a breakdown of your realized and unrealized gains across your accounts, across each symbol. So, and you'll also see a breakdown on, hey, how much commissions and fees have been paying since the start of the year too. All very important information that you can also, you know, download a CSV of if you click on the CSV icon there. So like to check out, you know, hey, what are my unrealized, realized gains for the year? What does it look like? Maybe you're trying to figure out for taxes. I mean, this isn't like tax information here, but you can get a general idea of, okay, I've realized this much gain or loss You know, maybe I'll expect this amount of taxes on my transactions. So we have quite a few more windows to go over. We're just going to go over a options trade example really quickly, kind of go over some of the tabs and then just open it up for Q&A here at the end. So what I like to go over here is an earnings trade. So a symbol that has earnings coming up is Costco, or well, relatively. We can type in COST at the top, press enter. And now we can see, and I'm also on the trade tab here. Sorry if I glanced over that, but click on the trade tab here and make sure that you are in table mode off the bat. This is where you're going to be trading options. There's a strategy selector at the top. We'll talk about this in a second, but we can get a lot of information just from our trade table here in the middle. We're going to see all the different expirations that we can trade. This little orange W means it's a weekly expiration. This May 19th is just a monthly, third Friday. But we can also see the days until expiration. So, you know, April 28th is in a day, May 5th is in 8 days. So you can kind of pick and go, oh, I want an expiration 43 days out or maybe 50 days out. You can do it there. And then also on the right side, we're getting a breakdown on IVX, and then there's a little plus and minus and a number sign. So that's saying what the implied volatility is for that specific expiration, and then also the expected move for that underlying, the up or down move based on one standard deviation. So if we look at, say, May 26, the 29 days out right after the earnings announcement, which is indicated by this purple bar, or dividends too, that's that blue bar right there. You can see the date too. We got a dividend on May 4th and earnings on May 25th. If we look at the May 26th expiration, we can see there's an expected move of 22.84. It's saying over the next 29 days, within one standard deviation move, that it will go up or down 22.84. So it's kind of a statistical measure on the expected move of the underlying. And then you also get the IV, accompanying IV there. You'd expect, you know, higher IV, probably larger expected move. So that'll play into our earnings play in a second. So if we wanted to do that, we're going to pick an expiration right after the earnings announcement. In this case, it's May 25th after the bell. See, like might be a little zoomed out there, so sorry if it's hard for seeing, but this little bell icon, you see an arrow to the right, that means that the earnings is after the bell on May 25th. But let's go ahead and click on this expiration 29 days out. If you click on the expiration row, that will expand the strikes that you can trade on this expiration. We're going to get quite a lot of information here. You got quite a few columns here. The main ones are your bid and ask columns. These are, you know, once again, buttons that you're going to click on to open up trades. You could use the strategy selector to kind of open up default legs, but for the most part, the easiest way is based on these bid and ask columns. On the left is our calls, and on the right are our puts. So if we click on the bid price on the call side, we're selling a call. We click on the ask price on the call side, we're buying a call. Same applies with puts. Click on the bid, you're selling a put. Click on the ask, you're buying the put. Just to show you really quickly, say we wanted to sell the 470 put. We can do so by clicking on the bid price on the 470 row, 470 strike for a put. If you click on that there, now we're selling one leg there, and you see in our order ticket at the bottom. So that's how quickly you can just click and set up a trade there. But you can also use the strategy selector. I'll show you in a second. For this earnings play, kind of want to look at the expected move here and say, okay, maybe I have a premonition on Costco, or like, you know, preconceived notion of where it might move. I've done my research. I think, okay, you know, this earnings announcement isn't really going to be that crazy. Maybe it's going to, you know, kind of volatility is going to contract a little bit. It's going to trade sideways, stay within a range. So hopefully, based on my assumptions, it'll stay within a range. How do I want to trade that? Well, maybe I'll try and place a strangle on it. And how can I use the expected move to help place this trade? Well, as you're looking in the trade table here, you're going to see this orange bar. So this orange highlighted bar on the right side is the expected move for this expiration. It's saying that up until these 29 days until expiration, it's probably, you know, based on a one standard deviation move, it's probably going to change or trade between this range. So we can use this to help set up our strangle. Maybe we want to, we want to profit as long as it stays within a range. I like statistics. I like saying, hey, 68% one standard deviation sounds good to me. Let's set it up. So you can set it up either by clicking on the bids on either side. For strangle, we're selling a put and a call, or we can use the strategy selector. So I'll show you guys just really, really quick. You click on this drop down up here, and then you get a bunch of different options. Say you want to do a vertical spread, you can do a short put vertical, or you can click on each of these and toggle between short, long, call, put. So if you want to do a long call vertical, you set it there and then click go. If you want to do a short call, toggle it, click go. In this case, we want to do a short strangle, we can click go. And now it sets up a default strangle for us. Just going to set it like close to the at the money price. So there's a couple ways we can adjust. Once again, we kind of want to adjust our strikes here to be outside the expected move or just right about at it. You can either use the buttons here at the bottom of the platform for strikes up and down or with. Personally, the easiest for me is just left clicking on the leg and dragging. And that will automatically update the order ticket and your order leg. Right now, I think I kind of want to just place this right around, let's say, I think it's right around like 520 on the expected move there. And then also we will drag our put side down right around there, or maybe, let's stick it 475 and maybe we'll drag down there to 525, right outside those orange bars, the expected move there. So now that we've set that up, we have a strangle, we got our order ticket at the bottom, we drag to some different legs. So right now we are selling the 475 put, 525 call, correlates to what we're seeing on there as well. And we have the default order ticket based on the mid price. This is the order price you're sending at. But then we also get a great breakdown on some information on the trade. Maybe we're just checking out, okay, what are the deltas on this trade? What are the theta? How much premium am I getting each day from time decay? Or am I slightly bearish or bullish? Right now, this is a very slightly bearish strangle based on the negative 0.54 delta. We can see our max profit potential, which for a strangle is just the credit you enter or get filled for opening the strangle. And then our max loss is infinite. So a little risky, but if we manage it well, we should be fine. And then a buying power effect, how much buying power is this trade taking up to place? If we want to get some more details on our trade here and think about, okay, where are my break-even points at expiration and profit and loss zones? So if we look closely at this area here, kind of like our right side orange highlight, we see a green and red area on the left side. So this is a very like eagle-eye view of how you are going to view your profit or loss zones. So right now we see that right at this blue line, this blue dotted line, actually marks the one standard deviation move there, is the profit or loss point. So our break-even point for this trade. Same applies on our, get rid of that drawing. On our bottom side, you can see that the green and red are meeting right on that one standard deviation based on how I set up my trade. As I am adjusting the legs here, you can see how, okay, my profit or loss zones at expiration are updating based on how I'm setting up this trade. So you can kind of visualize, hey, where are my break-even points? Where is the statistical move for this underlying? And then, maybe if you want a little more details, you want the exact numbers because, you're kind of looking at this going, okay, well, what number is that exactly? There's a couple ways we can look at this better. First would be clicking on the table mode in the top left. So drop down here and clicking on curve. So, and this is without clicking on analysis, by the way. So if you clicked on analysis, you might see something different. But as you're in the curve mode, this is kind of just like a horizontal view of how you see the trade table. Get a bunch of pricing here that you can remove if you want, but same idea that we're seeing the expected move in the middle. We're seeing our strikes, and we're seeing our profit or loss zones. We can drag and drop these legs to how we see fit. So once again, you can drag and drop your legs, or you can click on these buttons here to mess around with it. Move it around, or we can increase the quantity. Maybe we want to do 2 strangles, go back to 1 strangle, push out expirations, plus or minus there too at the bottom. Maybe we want to invert the strangle, very unlikely, or undo any action, redo any action. There's buttons there. And then also a clear button to just, hey, let's get this. I do not want to see this trade again. So this is an okay view, not maybe exactly what we're looking for, but what you can do now that you are in curve mode is click on analysis. And this right side panel might pop up. You can just close it. While we are in the analysis curve mode, we can scale up our Y a little bit, maybe zoom in a little bit there with our buttons. So really quickly, just to show you what I did, you can play around with this setting, the scale Y, and then also the zoom and zoom out settings, just so you get a little bit of a better picture. But within this window here, under trade mode, curve, and analysis, you're able to see a much more better view at the break-even points. And you can cover your mouse over and see, okay, you see this little P&L expiration on the data box. As you're scrolling your mouse over, you can see, okay, right around 46.70, I might need to zoom in here to get a little closer to the pricing. But you can see, okay, 46.7.36. That's going to be my break even on the bottom side. So good way to get in there and check that out. You can do that for open trades or for trades that you're looking to open as well, or past trades too. So while you're in here, you can edit your order ticket too. So it's all fully customizable. You can kind of do it in any mode that you want. You can either get that brief overview on the trade tab, or you can kind of dig into it into the analysis tab, play around. There's some more metrics in here that you can check out. But for the most part, I'll just say, make sure that you have this P&L expiration box highlighted. And then also, maybe we want add expiration. Yeah, there we go. Select that, and then you're good to go. I usually, and then the info box as well is nice to have. So that's how I set it up there. But again, there's a lot of customization. You can kind of tailor it to how you want. So that's our earnings play. We could send the order if we want. Boom. See our orders here. Double check that it's good. We like it. Looks like a good trade. Market's closed right now, but we could still send it if we want to. Now we have our working order on Costco. And we can see, oops, sorry, Outlook is going crazy. But we can go to the positions tab here and see, there we go, our working order on Costco. We could adjust, change the price, cancel it as well. It'll start working the next market session. So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel this order. We don't need to place it. But the kind of the same applies. Let's look at some options positions. We talked about closing a stock order earlier. If we were to open up that options position, you can click on your options positions within the trade tab. One thing I also should have mentioned here is the group by section. I generally, if you're new to the platform, just group by order chains. It's the best option as of right now. Maybe you got some preferences, but for the most part, grouping by order chains is going to be the best. It's going to show you the actual strategy that you're trading, and if there's been any rolls on it as well. So we can see oh, we got a ratio spread over here. We set up a calendar on AMD. It's very nice. And then as you are in the trade tab, you can left click either at the top on the header or each leg individually, right click, and then you can set up a closing order. This is also where you could, hey, I want to set up a closing order at 50% profit. There's a selection to do that as well. Or say we wanted to roll to a different expiration. There's selections there too, where we can say, hey, let's roll the same exact options to 85 days out or 113 days out. You can all do that within the positions tab there on your open positions. You could place stop orders on or stop limit orders on spreads right now, which is really great. That was a somewhat recent addition. But yeah, so those were those main tabs here that I was placing an options trade. Just to last thing I like to show off as well, some things that are great on this right side panel. So again, we clicked on this arrow to expand it. We have a couple different sections here. So first, let's check out, we can look at news on a particular symbol. So we get a bunch of news articles. If you click here, it opens up a hyperlink to a news article. So we can check out some news on AMD. And also underneath that is order chains. So within order chains, we are going to get and we did our group by order chains in the middle here, where it's oh yeah, we're keeping track of our rolls, all that great stuff. Well, on the right side panel here, this is a great proprietary feature here. where you can keep track of your position from start to finish with all of its rolls. So in this case, we had a calendar, we rolled it out, and then I'm trying to remember what we were doing here, but any case, we get essentially a breakdown of our position and our total profit or loss based on our rolled position. So as you are rolling your options or kind of checking out your historical profit or losses, it's kind of like our history tab where you're able to reconcile, hey, where did I go with my closed positions, or, where am I at with my open positions as well. So order change is really great. And then also too, my computer sometimes gets a little, Zoom just doesn't jive very well with the Java, but this tab here is fundamentals. You can get some fundamental data on symbols and then also set alerts on underlyings as well. So if you want to set like stock alerts, or, alerts on futures, you can do that. Very nice feature. There's also another watch list panel if you need another watch list. But okay, so that kind of is the general overview of the platform, all the main areas that you're going to be in. Lastly, we do have some other trading modes like the active trader tab. I'm sure Anthony can toss a link on the help center for this, but if you like to, trade outright or futures or outrights very quickly, you can do so on the active trader tab. And then also we have our grid mode. So this is the ability to place trades on the chart as well. And you can get multiple charts too, kind of like our tasty charts tab, but there's an order ticket at the bottom too to buy and sell. And then our crypto mode, you can buy and sell crypto in here. And then lastly, there's a pairs trader tool as well, if you wanted to set up a pairs trade between two different symbols or futures. So nice. So let's go back to Costco really quick. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so we got any questions coming up here? Coming on in. We'll just open it up for Q&A at the end here. Also, I'd like to say just off the bat that we will host some follow-up demos here in the next few days. If you remember that sign-up page that you signed up for this demo, there's a stock, options, and then futures, all dedicated demos for each of those product types coming up next week. So if you want a more in-depth look at each of those product types on the platform, how you can tailor your platform for those products, that is the best place to go. So to your point, I see someone was asking OCOs on option spreads. We're looking to add that. It's in development right now. So you can still place stop limits on spreads. We go ahead and look at, go back to Costco really quick. Put up a little spread here. If you see at the very bottom of the drop down here under order type, drawing under order type here at the bottom, you set a stop limit. So that's about as close as you're going to get to an OCO at this time on options spreads specifically. You can place OCOs on single leg. So say we were just here, let me get rid of my drawing. It's getting in the way. If we were just to buy a call here, the 510 call, you'll see the bracket button at the bottom. And now you can place an OCO on that. So spreads is coming soon, but right now it's just single leg for bracket orders. Can I place a conditional order to buy? So that is also an order type that we don't currently have available. I would say the best alternative would be to check out your options delta and see, okay, based on the delta, a $1 move in this underlying is a profit or loss change of this much, maybe then you can help decide, okay, where do I want to set this stop loss point? So no, options orders are just going to trigger based off of options pricing. You can't set it so that, hey, close this order when the stock price reaches this. It's just strictly based on options pricing as of right now. But again, you can kind of use the Greeks to get a better idea of where to place that if you strictly just want to go off of stock order price. Where can I enable after hours and pre-market prices? So after hours and pre-market are all going to just populate at the top of the platform. Oops, sorry. Grab the wrong thing. Oopsie. So at the top of the platform here, just this right here, this is just going to show you the price action on the underlyings as you are in that pre-market and post-market session. So you're just going strictly off the bid and ask. In terms of like, say you like wanted to look at like SPX, like after hours options. I mean, like all the data is going to update based on, what the market's doing. It's just that in the after hours, especially for, stocks, ETFs, it's going to be at the top here. You're going to look at the bid and ask. You can just see Costco still moving. I believe it was, unless I'm going crazy. Okay. Any other questions? Any other general questions that are going on? Toss them in the chat. We got a few more minutes here. I also like to toss in our help center. This is a really great area to go to. So right now we are just on the tastytrade website. Get off the drawing tool here. We go on the main just tastytrade website and click on help center at the top. That's going to take you to our help center, and we have over 400 guides here on different tools, how to enable different things. Maybe say you want to enable futures trading in your account. You can type in enable futures. And now you're going to get a help article explaining, hey, where do I need to go? What kind of account type do I need to enable futures in my account? So a lot of great guides. Maybe you're thinking, hey, do you have a guide on stop orders? Maybe, or, Anthony was tossing in bracket orders there too. You can check out stop orders, breakdown on, hey, got a video too. A lot of great content. I was talking about the tastytrade YouTube channel before. A lot of great educational videos. Check them out. But please explain the analysis tab in the right pane. Sure, I'll try and it could take its own discussion for quite a while, but just to give you a brief overview, we're taking a look at it while we're in the analysis tab. This is where you can select, so especially if you have multiple legs in a position, let's maybe look at AMD instead. So right here, we got 2 legs on a position right now. If we click and deselect a particular leg, it won't show up on the analysis tab anymore. But here you can kind of play around with different levels of implied volatility and also evaluate, P&L Theo, which is this line right here, at different points up until expiration. So that's based on a Black-Scholes option pricing model saying, hey, based on market conditions, where would this be at if the price had moved to this based on this date? So this is more of just an area of kind of back testing, seeing, hey, okay, what would happen if volatility increased a bunch? And you can go in here and, increase volatility for that expiration a bunch. Or you can change the day and say, hey, maybe I want to evaluate this at expiration or at a different date. You can select that as well. So that's just a brief one. We have an help article on the Help Center that goes over all the different graphs tabs. It's a lot of information, but we'll definitely talk about that in probably our options demo coming up next week. What's another useful indicator do you use on the platform? Good question. Well, I'm not much of a technician myself. I usually stick to like an SMA and MACD. I know some people like RSI, or let's see, relative, if my computer, well, looks like my Zoom is kind of, let's see, maybe it's a drawing tools. There we go, RSI. So we could get a RSI, relative strength index. It's just another kind of technical analysis thing that I used to use. I really don't. For the most part, I'm just looking at the options pricing, looking at the expected move, probability of profit on the trade, stuff like that. Maybe I'm getting a general idea with charting, but yeah, for the most part, I would say, do your research, check it out. There's a ton. I mean, there's like 400 indicators in here. So you can imagine, everyone's got the idea that, they have the indicator that works the best. But as you can see, there's a lot of different people trying to get indicators. So, tread at your own risk. It's not a recommendation to use these or that, these provide results at all. It's just nice, like mental references to certain things, and definitely just, give some Google searches. Should definitely provide you quite a lot. I mean, there's a lot of content online on indicators and charting. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I hope that answers all of your questions. Big shout out to Anthony for answering questions as we were going through this. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, hey, is there going to be a recording? Yes, we posted on our YouTube channel shortly after, probably in a day or so after we just clean it up a little bit. And then you should receive an email from us saying, hey, the demo recording's ready. Go check it out here. Here's some additional resources, stuff along those lines. So in the meantime, though, feel free to reach out to support@tastytrade.com. Also here, I just want to show this really quick. Once again, not investment advice, just have to show it at the end here. But feel free to reach out to support@tastytrade.com or reach out to us at 888-247-1963. It's our phone number. We're happy to help out. We're not afraid to talk to anyone. You're not going to get a super long wait time. We're here to help out, and we got a bunch of great reps. So Anthony and I will be the ones answering your questions when you reach out. So feel free to hit us up. Just to show you really quick where you can find, let's pop this up one more time. One nice feature on our help center here is this chat icon in the bottom right. And this will just help suggest some articles. And then eventually, if you're not able to find a solution, it'll help lead you to chat if you'd like to chat in. Or there's also our contact us page here where you can find our phone number as well, or a mailing address if you want to send some fan mail for sure. But hope that helps. Thank you for attending. Thank you for joining the Tasty Trade team. We got some great stuff coming up. We have a new web browser platform actually getting released in May. So Open API too, if you're interested in that. We just released an Open API a week ago. What else? There's some really cool more apps coming down the line. We just added account funding to our mobile app. Like, our development team is going crazy. So, and we love the feedback too. So we have a feedback@tastytrade.com or tech@tastytrade.com, or just give us a call. Tell us what you want. Almost all the features you see on the platform here are probably came from inspiration from customers reaching out and saying, hey, this is what I want on the platform. Get it up on there. And that's our job. So we just want to make it as best of an experience as possible. So hope you guys have a good one. Good luck on the trading. As you can see from my account, haven't had too much of that yet. But, as we do, we will push on and prosper. Maybe it's not my year, but hope all of you guys have a fantastic rest of the night. Again, thank you so much, Anthony. We will have more demos coming up. Sign up for them. We'll be on them. Some great information. And keep your eyes out for Web 2.0. Some really great stuff coming up there. Super powerful technology. So have a nice night, folks. I will catch you on the flip side.